Thank you for coming tonight. We really do appreciate the participation this evening. I want to thank the Cedar High staff for helping to facilitate this, Mr. Janowski and Mr. Dodds and Mr. Starr, Jeff Starr, doing a great job for us. Tonight we have the majority of our mascot committee, which I'll talk about here in a minute, that are in the seats here to be able to gather input as well. I want to thank them for being willing to be a part of this committee. There are 28 committee members that agreed to be able to sit down together and share their opinions and views in a respectful way with varying opinions. It's been a very good conversation. We've met on two occasions so far in preparation for these public meetings, and the committee represents future Cedar High students, current Cedar High students, parents of Cedar High students, alumni, faculty and staff, and Mr. Garrett and myself. And they've been really diligent to be able to explore the issues and establish some parameters for getting together and having these conversations. I also wanted to just kind of outline the way this will look, so that those of you that wanted to share your thoughts can do so. I'm going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to go through the topics that we're all here for and what the committee's work has been encompassed so far by. And then from there we will have public comment time, and we are going to ask that public comments be limited to 3 minutes or less, with no expansion of time. So don't go to a row of 10 people and then say you get all of the 30 minutes. And we want to try and get as many opinions shared as well from the public. And we may end up sharing some of the email comments that have come in. A number of you, well over 100 email comments have come in with different perspectives. I really enjoyed going through those and getting that information. What will happen with all of those comments that have come in, we will share all of that information with the committee. They will have access to all of those emails, as well as the school board. So if you don't have a chance to speak tonight and you would like to share your opinions, please email those to mascot@ironmail.org, and I will have that email address up at the end. So as we've met with our committee, it's been a very good process to identify some of the things that we all agree on. We all agree that in 1943, when the Redmen mascot was selected, it was intended to honor our first inhabitants of the region, all of our Native American residents in the area, both that lived there at the time and before that. And there is a very, very strong tradition of excellence and passion that is tied to our Redmen mascot. That's a given. We've established that. For me personally, because I'm the one that's been there the least, I've only lived there 11 years. I came down and just thoroughly loved looking through the yearbooks from 1970 and 1985, and all of the different yearbooks. I spent quite a bit of time down here going through that, and it's abundantly clear the passion and the love that is here for the Redmen mascot. That's a given. So the committee was able to establish that. So the question then, of course, is why are we even talking about this, and why does it come up every few years, this issue? So I'm going to go through these in a little bit more detail, but these are the 4 things that I think, as a committee, we've really narrowed in on. The term Redmen is deemed a racial slur by some people, both within Iron County and outside Iron County. We are now using a 21st century lens in our education system. We don't live in a bubble in Cedar City. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Some of our students at Cedar High School now have become targets because of showing the Redmen flag. And they have been attacked mostly via social media with threats and all kinds of just horrible things. Right? If you've been reading some of the threads on Facebook about this topic, it's unfortunately clear that some people use social media in a negative way. And that's been the case for many of our students. And above all, as a committee, we want to do what's best for our current and our future students. So, third Redmen is deemed a racial slur by some people within and outside of Iron County. So, Redmen is a racial identifier. It is identifying a group of people by the color of the skin. That's a given. Redmen, if you look at different views, is recognized nationally as outdated, disparaging, and offensive term. And it's wholly contradictory to what we felt in Iron County towards a Redmen mascot. So there's a disconnect there. What's really interesting about this is it is very clear that people within the same families have very different views on this as well sometimes. Both within our Native American community and outside of the Native American community. Some view it as a racial slur, some do not. Some equate it to the equivalent of the N-word, some do not. And so there's a discussion among the committee on where that really exists. Using a 21st century lens, our students may sleep in Iron County, but they do not live in Iron County alone. They live in a global society. They live on their phones, they're through social media. And so we have to recognize that. As a parent, I don't necessarily like it, but that's the reality for many of our kids. And that's become an increasing challenge. School administrators constantly are dealing with things via social media. And that's the case here with Cedar High and all of it. Every year, we have different incidents that occur where students are harassed or targeted online. And it's for showing what they thought was their school spirit. Standing in front of a Native American mural and being labeled as a racist. Wearing Native American gear for a spirit activity and receiving death threats. These are just some of the things that have come out. Probably everybody in here remembers a couple of years ago with a girl team dance. But different things that occurred with that. But that's the reality for our kids now, is that they are living in that multimedia world. We have some students that have expressed that they, and staff, that they are fearful or they choose not to wear Redmen gear outside of Iron County because of comments that they receive. And that's unfortunate. So, the fourth thing, doing what's best for our current and future students. We want to honor the past and the legacy that we have here at Cedar High School. That's critical. We also want to ensure that our students, both current and future, are protected as much as we can from harassment and different things. That's essential. So how do we do that? Where does it go? Lots of people have different views about that. The process for the committee, so you were aware, we've met on 2 occasions, as I mentioned. I didn't mention when I went through the committee at first. We have representation from our tribal council leadership from the Paiute tribe. And they've been wonderful in our conversations as well. And depending on time, they may share their resolution that they've adopted, or I don't know, we'll just see how time goes. But we've met as a committee on those 2 occasions. We wanted to ensure that we received as much public comment as we can. That's why we've set up these 2 meetings that you know about, as well as the email address. We've also had a presentation to our student body here the other day, yesterday actually. And one of the concerns expressed by a student was that the 2 dates that we have here in December, the 4th and the 18th, there are student activities on both of those nights that they would be involved in. We know that there's always student activities in the high school. That's part of the beauty of high school. And we were hoping that between the two that they would be able to make one of it. But there was a concern that some of them be involved in cheerleading and things would not be able to do it. So we set up one more public meeting on January 14th. So if you have family members, leaders that expressed that they wanted to come but couldn't, please let me know about that as well, and we'll share that out. But that one will be at 6 p.m. And that's a Monday night. We didn't have student activities that night. And then the committee will get together and meet and see if we can come up with a recommendation to the school board in January. And then tentatively, this is up to the board to decide if we put it on the schedule for January or not. But at this point, the discussion is we would present to the school board in January, and then they can determine if they make a determination at that time, or if they send it out for more discussion. Questions that have come up that don't necessarily involve us as a committee, but keep coming up that I thought I would address. There's different versions of what is the case with tribal support for the mascot. The local Cedar High tribe has been very supportive of our process. They've been integral in the process in sharing their views. Just as is the case with every family, potentially every family in Iron County, different members of the tribe have different perspectives on this as well. And that's okay. As a tribe, they have said, we want this process to occur, we want to have the dialogue, we want to ensure that all of the views are heard. So that's the position of the tribe. And I would invite anyone to comment further from our tribal leadership. People have asked about potential costs. Obviously, if you look in the building, there's a significant amount of signage. That's going to end up being replaced at some point. This committee is not tasked with that. There are a number of uniforms, school uniforms, that over the last 5-10 years have switched to just Cedar on the front. I think our administration has been very forward-thinking and recognizing the issues that have been occurring with students being harassed and potential issues down the road. And so most of them just say Cedar at this point. They don't say Redmen. And so that cost could be minimized. There's also funding sources through national organizations like Adidas that help to provide funding for schools and districts that are moving away from Native American mascots. The timeline I shared with you, as far as the committee goes, what the board does with that recommendation is up to them. If this comes up a lot, if the name were not Redmen, what would it be? And there's been all kinds of suggestions. That's not for this committee to go through. If the board decided to make a change, then there will be discussion about involving all of the groups in that process as well. But we're not going down that bridge because we're here right now. And then somebody said they're going to change school colors. That I would say, I would do that. That's not even in the process. Within our committee, because we have such passionate views, we established some norms. I'm going to share those norms with you because I would ask respectfully as much as possible to please maintain those norms here as well. Where we have one person talking at a time from the mic, that we respect all of our opinions, that we be open-minded, we use appropriate language, and if you feel the need, take a walk. I learned that at an early age. If I'm getting to that point where I think I probably could say something or I could take a walk, please choose to take a walk. If the thing you were going to say would come out inappropriately. So please consider those norms as we go through this evening. So here's our open comment portion. We would invite those that would be interested in sharing their views with the committee. We'll have 3 minutes. I believe Mr. Weaver, please, are you our timekeeper? Mr. Weaver will be down there to let you know when there's a minute left and then let you know that the 3 minutes is up. I would invite committee members if you would like to share your views. Public. if at all possible, and the point you would like to make has already been made, we would love to hear other perspectives. But at the same time, I don't want to stifle you to preside or show you shit. So try to balance that as much as you can. We do want to make sure we get all of the issues out there. So if you can, please other comments as well as I stated. And then please remember to be civil and respectful during this discussion. Everybody's views are important. We don't have, we don't want to minimize anyone's views. So please feel free to give your opinion on this. And again, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. The mic is on stage left. I think Mr. Janowski is going to change the lighting a little bit so that it's a little more different. And the time is yours.
My name is Max Kimball Weaver. I've been a Redmen since 1959. I realize that my hair shows my age and I want to be open-minded. My opinion is that I've been proud to be a Redman, extremely such, and I feel that it is a positive thing from my point of view. No matter what the committee and the school board decides, we're still Cedar High graduates, whether we're Mickey Mouse or whatever we decide we're going to be. But the thing I'd like to just point out that there's many things that still require the name of an Indian. For instance, we call another alma mater that I graduated from, the University of Utah, is still the Ute. The Washington Redskins, which is a professional football team, are the Redskins. And the Atlanta Braves, which are a baseball team, still are the Braves. And so things can be positive. I know that there are many here that will have different views. Just so you know, I have a son that's timing me, and I have a wife that taught here. So I'm very happy to bring my opinion, and I feel like that we can be respectful of each other's views. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tamara Borchardt-Slayton. I'm the chairwoman for the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah, and I want to make it clear that the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah has 5 distinct bands that they are made up of. The Cedar Band is just one of them, and the Indian Peaks is the other, and those 2 bands reside in Iron County. Then we have the Shivwits Band in St. George, the Kanosh Band in Millard County, and the Kashuran Band in Richfield, so Sevier County. I'm going to read our resolution that we passed on November 15th of 2018, and it reads, whereas the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah is a federally recognized Indian tribe under 25 U.S.C. 761, organized under the tribe's constitution, was ratified by the tribe on June 11th, 1991, and approved by the Secretary of Interior on July 15th, 1991, and amended by the tribe on August 12th, 1997, and approved by the Secretary of Interior on September 30th, 1997, pursuant to Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of June 18th, 1934, and whereas pursuant to Article 4 and Article 5 of the Constitution of the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah, the Tribal Council is the official governing body of the tribe, and whereas pursuant to Article 5, Section 1 of the Constitution, the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah, the Tribal Council is vested in all executive and legislative powers of the tribe, and whereas the tribe's headquarters is located in Cedar City, Utah, where there are hundreds of tribal members living, including teenagers attending Cedar High School, whose mascot is Redmen, and whereas Cedar High School is located within the exterior boundaries of Iron County School District, which has officially adopted the following mission statement, creating a better tomorrow for all. the Iron County School Board is made up of 7 individuals who seek to carry out the mission, and whereas it has come to the attention of the Tribal Council that the Iron County School Board desires to change the Redmen mascot in order to create a better tomorrow for all students to attend Cedar High School, and whereas the Tribal Council desires to support the Iron County School Board in its efforts to carry out its missions by changing the mascot of the Redmen and another mascot in order to create a better tomorrow for all students at Cedar High School, and now therefore it be resolved, the Paiute Tribal Council hereby supports the Iron County School Board in efforts to carry out its mission by changing the mascot from Redmen to another mascot in order to create a better tomorrow for all students that attend Cedar High School.
Hi. Hello, my name is Jerry Kutch, and I am a Native American. I am Ute. I don't like this mascot because of the history of names like Redskin, Red Indian, and Redmen. There is no difference. A simple search on dictionary.com of Redskin reads, noun, older slang, disparaging and offensive, a contemptuous term used to refer to North American Indian. There is no second or alternative meaning. Another search from the oxforddictionaries.com results in the same meaning, noun, dated, offensive, a North American Indian, usage. Redskin, like the related terms red man and red Indian, is now dated or offensive. The Cedar High School website states the Student Council adopted the name Redmen in 1942 to represent the Native Americans in the area. It says, the mascot Redmen reminds all of us of the pride, nobility, and hard work it takes to achieve. However, it does not convey ideas of pride, nobility, nor hard work to anyone who knows the history of that name and names like it. I cringe when I see a Redman as a mascot. I imagine my ancestors being scalped and his or her blood dripping down their face, literally making them Redmen. Native American skin has never been red. We are all shades of brown. It is a racial slur now and always has been. In 1755, Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts issued the call and ordered, embrace all opportunities of pursuing, captivating, killing, and destroying all Indians. They paid well, 50 pounds for adult male scalps, 25 for adult females, and 20 for boys and girls under the age of 12. In other cases, $100 and $200 were paid for hunters for Indian scalps. In another publication in October 1885, titled An Indian Hunt, tempted by the reward of $250 for Indian scalps, made by several counties in Arizona, have started out on the hunt for redskins with the view of obtaining their scalps. This is not a new fight. The National Congress of American Indians have been fighting the use of Native Americans as mascots since 1968. This high school thinks it's fun and honorable to pretend to be Redmen proud. They get to pick and choose to be Native or represent Natives by using a racial slur as a mascot, all while actually being Native American is dangerous, especially for women and girls. Native females are the highest risk for domestic violence and murder. 84% of Native women will experience violence in their life. The state of Utah is a top 10 state, and Salt Lake is in the top 10 cities with missing and murdered Indigenous women. The point is, Native American, redskin, and Redmen was used to dehumanize them. Race tensions are at an all-time high, and we need to rename and move on. Will Cedar be the last school in history to remove this racial slur as a mascot? We don't call ourselves Redmen, and neither should you. It's uncomfortable to be put in this position to have to defend our culture and our history. It is dehumanizing still.
Okay, I brought this insert. I'm not going to read it, but sorry. I brought this insert that Jerry was talking about, where they would have a bounty where it was increased to $200, where they would kill the Indians, thus their bodies and their heads would be red, thus being called a red man. Like she said, we're not red, we're brown. And this has been going on, and to me it's like, how can you be proud of this? What is proud? How can you be proud of our ancestors? Men, women, and children being killed for this beautiful land because they wanted this land. I mean, would you come up to me and say, hey, Redskin? Would you come up to me and say, hey, Redskin, hey, Redmen? You wouldn't do that. That's offensive. Like she said, the dictionary says it's offensive, disparaging, and insulting, and it's a taboo. So if your students are getting harassed, just think what our people are going through. You know, if they're getting these threats, and you're proud of this symbol, and you've got the chief with the war bonnet. Our Paiute people don't wear war bonnets. We never have. We've been a simple people. We weren't warriors. We weren't out making war. We were simple people minding our own business, cultivating, growing our vegetables, and feeding our family. And, you know, this, during the entire history of America until the turn of the century, indigenous American Indian people were hunted and killed, their bodies covered in blood, thus being red. The fact remains that to many Native Americans, the term has long meant that the act of our ancestors' scalps being collected for bounty, men, women, and children. This is where this term comes from, red men. I mean, I see this and I think to myself, how can you be proud? You know, names can be changed. Our history can't. It will never be changed. It's always going to be what happened. So whether you guys change it or not, and I appreciate that you guys put this together to hear our opinions, our voices, and you know, whatever you guys decide, I do appreciate that we were able to come here, and I thank you guys.
Good evening. My name is Brian Jake. I graduated back in '66 from Cedar Redmen. I'm proud I graduated from here, and I went to service after that. I spent 13 years in service. I fought with the warriors in Vietnam. The warriors were the fighters. I came back, but I fought with the Green Berets, Special Force. They were the warriors too. They had arrows on their patches. But when I came back, I was still proud as a Cedar Redman. But you know, like I say, we're brown, but we're still red inside. Our blood is still red. It doesn't make any difference who we are, what color we are. I have a friend here. We've been to Vietnam together in school here. I call him a friend, but he's a white person too. I don't call him a white man, but you know, but we talk to each other a lot like that, as being a friend. So I have lots of friends here in Cedar I graduated with, and that, but they know me, who I am. Like I say, we are red inside. The heart breathes red. That's all I got to say.
Good evening. I just learned about this issue just this week. I have a niece that graduated from here. I'm from California. I've been here 15 years. And I can honestly say, I remember when we first moved here seeing the Redmen on the water tank and thinking how awesome that was. And I think I'm going to speak for the people that are naive about the terrible things that come out of innocent things. For example, when she spoke, and I apologize, I don't remember your name, my heart hurt for you. And the first gentleman that spoke, I agreed with him. And I think in this day and age, there's too many offenses that are actually innocents. And I think it would be a shame and a waste to redo this. I understand the reasons behind the Redmen people, the Indian tribes. I'm not going to say this correctly. I'm going to probably offend somebody, or a lot of somebodies. But I'm here to say, somebody's going to be hurt, somebody's going to be mad, offended, disappointed, angry, and I'm sorry for the children, the students, the kids that are being affected by this in a negative way. But I don't think it's an individual issue. I think it's around the world. And I prayed about this before I came in, and my heart says this. When we took God and prayer out of schools, this is what we get.
So the innocence that she speaks of is actually called ignorance. And I used to live here many years ago, and to be honest, when I came back after 15 years, I was shocked and appalled at what I saw. On Highway 56, there is a store that advertises that they sell Confederate flags. If you look around town, you can see many pickup trucks with Confederate flags, bumper stickers, and cars. Those things are hurtful. They are offensive. They do exclude people. And if something like this excludes somebody or makes somebody hurt, why come back to it every few years? Why not make the right decision and set an example for what is right, to show our children, our teenagers, that we do what's hard because it is what's right. This name has to be changed. Just because it's not offensive to most of you doesn't mean it's not offensive to some, and that should be enough, especially death threats for our children. We have to put things in perspective, and something like this is a small step. Recently, the FBI came out with some statistics that Utah alone had more than a 30% increase in hate crime. More than 30%, people, in Utah. I thought Utah was the state of compassion and understanding and inclusion. And this is a good example. This is a good way for us to show what is important. And changing the name is important. Thank you.
I'm a student here, and my great-grandmother was the chief's daughter of a Cherokee tribe. My grandfather and my mom have always kept me informed of the happenings of all the native tribes, and they've always kept the culture alive in our families. And I honestly do not feel that this is offensive. As a, not 100%, but as a native, part Native American, I don't see how this is offensive to people. It's the name of a school, and if you look, it was originally named the Redmen. Our mascot was the Redmen, as to honor them. And if people get insulted by the mascot of a school, I'm appalled by that. And we just need to keep things how they are. And it's not offensive to most. It is to some, and I am sorry that it is. I truly am. And those people who are being affected, all the death threats, yes, it is a serious problem, and they need to be stopped. But people will be rude to you for just about anything these days. It's very sad, but it is true. I think we just need to keep this and move forward as a society and keep going and realize that it's not offensive, it's honorable.
Hi, I'm Andrea Schultz-Nielsen. I graduated from Cedar High School. I also taught here at Cedar High School. I want everyone to recognize that this is an impossible situation. It is a lose-lose. There's absolutely no way to make everyone in this room happy. Replacing all of the school's Redmen branded decor, athletic equipment, band equipment could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are high schools all over the country. There's one in New Mexico that has a Redmen logo. There are other considerations that should outweigh financial ones. Changing it would damage school spirit and sever a link between current and former students. There are pro teams, as was mentioned before, the Braves, the Seminole, well, the Seminoles aren't pro. The Florida State Seminole, Utah Utes have been around longer than the Redmen mascot. How far do you take it? Do you have a trading post here in town change the name since it could be considered racist by some? What is the difference between Redmen and the state of Oklahoma? The state's name is derived from Choctaw words, Okla and Huma, meaning red people. How far do you take it? There is a talk about changing the San Francisco baseball mascot from Giants because the term offends little people and midgets. You could find any mascot offensive. The PETA people might take on Delta High School Rabbits. The Redmen has been a part of honoring a heritage of a great people, and that's all it was meant to do, was honor. But names change. Actually, in the 1700s, before a common mistake decrying the use of the team's name as a comparison of Redmen to the N-word, yet unlike the N-word, which has a history that's always derogatory, the Native American word of Redmen wasn't. Early in the 1700s, before the Revolution, the Native Americans referred to the European colonists as white skins, and the Europeans innocently referring back to the Native Americans as, among other things, redskins. No offense was harbored by either side. It was a label. The labels change because society changes, but the society in this case is changing for the worse. We changed to cave and change the mascot's name because people are being bullied doesn't solve the bullying problem. That's not the reason. If there are high crime rates in a certain population, it's not because of a school mascot. There are other problems. That crime will continue unless we get to the root issue, which is not the name of a mascot that is only meant to honor. The root issue is bullying and a society that can't talk and respect other people and understand where we come from. Thank you.
I'm Joshua Kill. I graduated from here, and anybody that knows the history of Native Americans, I think it's a proud name. I love this school. I love the name. I gave my teachers a very hard time, and I am very sorry for that. But anyone that knows Native American history knows that they were warriors. Anybody that studied the Cheyenne knows they used to carry a stake and they'd stab it in the ground, and that's where they'd fight until another warrior, until the fight was over. I see it as a proud name. America's history has a lot of bad in it. But like some people are saying, well, we can't look back then, we gotta look at now. Well, let's look at now. Times have changed. We're not then. And there's a lot of things you can find. Take the swastika, for example. Anybody that's, sees a swastika, they associate it with Nazi or whatever, and it's a very bad symbol. But anybody that knows Native American history knows that it's on blankets, it's on beadwork, because it used to represent the 4 symbols. But somebody came along and took a symbol and made it something very bad. And my question is, where are we going to draw that line? Okay, I can understand this, and overall, I want to say that the tribe, I think, should make the final call on this. But I want everything to be looked at the way I think it should. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, but the way I see it, and that is, we live in a society now that demonizes everything, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing. And I understand that to some people it's very offensive, and some of the natives here I know very personally, and they've taken me in and they've showed me stuff and how to do stuff, and I think that's awesome, and I appreciate it. But as far as what we're talking about right now, the Cedar High name, I see it as a very strong name. I see it as a great name, and I'd hate to see it be gone. To me, it's wiping out. You live in a country of 324 million people. There's 2.9 million Native Americans, and there's a lot of problem on these reservations. I grew up next to the reservation. There's so much that still needs to be done. So to the ones that are saying, hey, let's keep this name, let's back our Native Americans, we'll back them. There's a lot of problems out there, and there's people that are in positions that can fix these problems. So if you're saying you're going to back the natives, then back them. But at the same time, to take it away because some outside influence is saying, hey, this is bad, you can say that about anything.
In 1980, our Cedar High Redmen mascot was Virgil Wilson. He had a white horse, and when he came through, he commanded great honor and respect. And again, this doesn't apply to everything that the traditions would have shown, but he was a great peacemaker in the community because he carried that majesty with him. And also in 1980, we had the Soviet gymnastics team, and that was a hard conflict with former enemies out there. When they came to Cedar, there on the runway, Virgil and that white horse standing command, and they were absolutely thrilled to have an experience that gave them that feeling of the wild American rugged West. And we always felt like Virgil as our mascot was a great peacemaker to help us with former enemies that became our friends. And currently, back to now, when we deal with our European friends that come to visit the parks, they are the one thing I hear is they want to experience the Amerikaner Indiana, and that's a wonderful spirit of freedom and things that they want to see when they're here. And so I feel that the spirit of the Redmen has greatly contributed and helped us make peace among our enemies, and should be an honored title, as has been said. In the 1890s, which is over 100 years ago, local historians described 6 of our notable Paiute boys that were known throughout this area. Their names were Squint, Curly Jim, Merricats, Tomot, Comanche, and Captain Pete. And through the 50s and 30s, and people knew these great leaders who became leaders of the Paiute tribe in the 30s. And they were lifelong friends of Iron County residents. Going back even further, in 1853, the pioneer poets of the area, Joel Hills Johnson, wrote about the Red Man's hope, and it was all honor and love and respect. He wrote a heartfelt tribute. It says, as a tree torn from the fountain in the valley green and fair, moved and planted on a mountain without nourishment or care, so the Red Man now is driven from his father's grave and home, while his heart by anguish risen has no hope for days to come. Later he says, cease, O Red Men, cease your weeping, while good news to you I tell. The Great Spirit is not sleeping, but knows all your sorrows well. He hath sworn unto your father that in latter days in peace he his scattered seed would gather to their homes with great increase. Then rejoice and be preparing for the day of promised rest, when with joy you shall be sharing all your fathers once possessed. Thank you.
So when I when I think of things that we face in life, I try to put things in a broader perspective and try to take what I can learn and apply to life to make myself and other people around me better. When I think of really what we're debating here tonight, I don't think it's so much about a mascot or the Redmen. I think it's actually a cultural thing that we're really fighting. A political correctness culture, a culture where we try to make victims out of groups of people, and we isolate and separate people into groups rather than unifying as a people. To me, when I think the missed opportunity that we have maybe had over our history at Cedar High School, and maybe even more recent history, is that instead of capitalizing on what it means to be a Redmen, like what the intent was originally for and what it means to be a Redmen, is something of honor, something that I can take characteristics and apply into my life to make me a better person. That's what we should be preaching and teaching to our students, and use it as a learning opportunity to develop character in our kids rather than something we're ashamed of or embarrassed of because the PC culture tells us we should be. When I the fact that our mascot is a Redmen, to me, has made me have an affinity, a fondness for the Native American culture, for the Native American people. And so when I stood as a student body president and I would yell in the microphone, "Who are we?" and the student body would yell back, "Redmen," that made me feel a part of that culture. That then, instead of dividing, it unites. So instead of pulling us apart, let's use this opportunity to bring us together. And who are we?
My name's Dan Grawler, and I graduated here in '68. I'm the Redmen was strong, and I'm for the Redmen. I'm proud to be a Native American Indian. When I went to school here, they put me in special education. Then I look back and say, why? What was wrong with the system with the school teachers and everything? I went to special education, and it was like how to read, write, but I already know that. But then I look back now, and I got my bachelor's, my master's degree. I graduated BYU in 1980, graduated University of 91, graduated Police Academy, worked as undercover in Phoenix. But that's my lifestyle then. And my lifestyle here is still in education. I'm proud to be a Redman, and I think it should be that way all the time. I was a bilingual education teacher in Arizona on a reservation. I taught teachers how to teach in the classroom, what it means to become a teacher, what it means with yourself, what's your goal, your motive, your enthusiasm, and what it means to become a highly educated person. The school here was good at that time, and it's kind of sad to see all the conflict going on now, but trying to sort out things. But you got to remember that every opinion varies, and everybody's lifestyle. Your lifestyle is my lifestyle. Everybody has their own ways of life and live, and I have my own way of life and love. But I'm still proud to be a Redman, and when I dance in the powwows, I put this uniform on to show the Anglo people that I'm proud as a Redman, and proud as a Native American, to show them that I have a heart and my spirit is within me. And I think we should all have a spirit of love in our hearts to every student, no matter what kind of person, black, Mexican, or Indian. If we care, we should care and give them a helping hand and show them that we all reunited, we're all as one. We should become better educated, a better person, and to look at ourselves and say, I love myself. How can I be strong? How can I change? What does it take? What does that mean? How am I going to do this? And so that's what I'm saying. Thank you for letting me be here.
I'm Max Workman. I'm here. I like to think that I represent most of the student body here, because for all the research they've done, the school board and their committee has not once sent out a questionnaire asking what the students they're trying to help thought. I know that I personally believe the Redmen is a sign of honor. It's a way of remembering a Native American heritage. When was the last time you saw a news story talking about Native Americans that wasn't either something like this, something about a mascot, or something sad, something that was talking about how they're losing their culture quicker and quicker every day, and how the people, how they're seemingly being assimilated into American culture. This is what we're trying to keep alive. The Redmen is here to remember. Redmen is here to preserve history. If it's a history that's painful, it's still there, because what you feel about history won't change what it is. I know that. I also would say that no matter how much money we get from grants from people who say we need to change, the Redmen logo, created in 1943, it's been in Utah for over half of Utah's lifetime. It's older than 2 U.S. states. You can't just buy back 70 years of a mascot and the feelings it possesses. And I think, and here in Cedar High, just one last thing, here in Cedar High we have a tradition of excellence. We have a tradition of integrity and respect, and I don't think that we're keeping up, that we're respecting ourselves, and that we're being faithful to ourselves if we just give in because someone feels bad about us. I think that keeping to the Cedar High values means sticking with what we have and following what we need, what our hearts say. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthea Tom Jake. I went to school here at Cedar High. I didn't graduate from Cedar High. I was short of a quarter of a credit of U.S. history. The reason why? It's because my teacher, Mr. Anderson, once we were studying Native American, I can't remember what it was, but he asked in class, what was an Indian? I always remember this. All the students started saying just horrible things. Redskin, savages, whatever, you know. I got up, walked out of class, never returned. Now, I did go back and I finished my U.S. history, my quarter credit, and I graduated from adult high. To tell them further, you guys are just marginalizing just a group of individuals by keeping the name. Have you heard it's an honor? How? How is it an honor? Currently, the state of Utah has an adequate curriculum on Native American history. And how many individuals in the audience know of the local tribal history here in Cedar City? You guys are on Paiute land. If you chose to keep the name for the school board needs to enter an intertribal agreement with the local federal recognized tribe, like the numerous schools in the state of Utah have. And we also need to learn about the Utah tribes. So with that said, me being a student here, going from U.S. history class, being called all those horrible names, you know, if I told my mother back then, she probably would have ripped that teacher a new something. But I didn't. I still went to school, but I lacked that quarter of a credit and I graduated from adult high. So you tell me who you people are hurting or who is hurting who. I'm just one individual. with a really horrible story.
My name is Caleb Nelson. I'm a student at the high school right now, and I'm proud to be a Redmen. And since this whole thing's been brought up, it's been kind of hard for me to say that. And I think that's not okay. And it's not because I'm ashamed. It's not because I don't agree with what our school's doing. It's because people think I'm racist. People think that I'm ignorant. People think that I don't know what's going on. And when I've heard that the first time, I said, well, maybe I am. I went home and I read articles and articles from everywhere I could find, accounts of really bad things that happened, and I decided that this is what needs to be there. And the ignorance that people have is from us ignoring this culture by taking it away from our schools, from not coming to understand it in our school system. By taking away our mascot, we just make it worse. I don't think that's fair. So I'd just like to say to everybody that thinks you might be a racist, that thinks you're ignorant, I love everybody here. I love you no matter what color your skin is. You're all from Cedar. You're my family. And that doesn't change. That won't change. No matter what we decide, it doesn't matter. That's just all that we need to remember.
Hi, my name's Tyson. I think the question that we really have here in deciding whether or not we should change the mascot is the word priorities. What do we really prioritize? Do we prioritize people's feelings and history? Or do we prioritize our own self-gratification from the history of the school name? I feel like we really need to understand that there is a history, it's real, it's tangible, and I honestly, as a graduate from Cedar High School, I would give up every single article of clothing that I have that has the Redmen name so that I would know that my fellow brothers and sisters who are here in this community, who are Native American, could feel at peace that they are more respected from that sacrifice. Of course it's going to take sacrifice. Every single period of time in history that we've tried to make a change, it's taken sacrifice. But you have to re-level priorities. Do I care more about me waving a flag that has all these symbols on it that I don't even have in my culture because I'm a European? I was transferred here on a boat. This isn't my land. It's the land of the Native Americans. And I hope that we can honor their culture and stand proud to be members of the Cedar City community and respect the Native Americans.
Good evening. My name is Laurel Heap-Glidden, I'm class of 95. I'm an archaeologist here in Cedar City, and for the past 20 years, I've been studying the Native Americans that live in this area. And I think one of the issues here is I keep hearing that people are saying that this is an honor or this is to, as a tribute to the Native Americans. And number one, I'd like to point out, we're not listening to them. They're saying that this is not, this is not honoring them. I would also just reiterate what Dorina said earlier, that the Native Americans that lived in this area are not the Native Americans that we represent as the icons or the mascot. The mascot we have is a warrior with a mohawk and a tomahawk, and he goes, oh. The Native Americans that lived here weren't like that. They were hunter-gatherers. They were peaceful people. And I can see how that caricature would be offensive to them. The second point I wanted to make is I came here yesterday for an orchestra concert. And I wanted to take particular notice of the branding. And I really noticed there's been a lot of rebranding. You know, you don't see the Redmen with the headdress, you see just CR. This is not gonna go away, folks. This is gonna come up again every 2 years. And I appreciate the efforts that people are making to rebrand the school. You know what, now's the time, let's just rip the Band-Aid, because It's not going to go away. And the third point I want to make is I was a Redmen. I will always be a Redmen. And it's not because of, it had nothing to do with the mascot. It had to do with the pride and the sense of community I felt in this school. And I will always have that. And my parents went here, my siblings went here, and my children will go here. And whether they're Redmen or Badgers or Lions or whatever, they will always have that pride. You know, it doesn't have to be a Redmen. I think we can come up with a lot more dignified way to honor the Native Americans that lived in this area. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Logan Davidson. I'm a junior at Cedar High. First of all, I would just like to go into the school book, and it says on page 5, our school song, it starts with, "When the Redmen, our team, is in the game, and the whole school is fighting to guard its name." Is there any passion in this? Like, I believe that being a Redmen, I didn't grow up originally to go to Cedar. I grew up in Fiddlers, actually, and I was going to be a falcon, but I never thought of dreaming to be a bird. I always wanted to be red and gold, and that way of fighting as a warrior, and no matter what, like, this Redmen pride is my pride. I would die for these people, and I would die for the school name because I love this school. I love the people. I love everyone. There's not anyone in this school that I don't love. There's not anyone in this city that I wouldn't do something to help. This city has really brought me together personally, because my mom passed away from cancer, and all of you guys were there, whether you believe it or not. So no matter the school change or anything, you guys all were there for me. I don't care if we have to change to Badgers, Lions, Birds, Butterflies, Mickey Mouse. You guys are good people, so Redmen or not, I love everyone. That's all I have to say.
I think the most important thing about either if we're going to be a Redmen or something new, I think that the most important is that we all stand together. And instead of like having a hatred towards each other, that even if we're standing, that we all stand at a game and we support each other and love each other. And if we're at a game, that we're standing and cheering even if our team isn't wearing Redmen jerseys. And I hope that we can all stay unified. And I know that as students, we love being called Redmen, but even if there is a change, I hope we can stay together, and I know that we can if we love one another.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Delise Tom. I'm not originally from here, but I should say I am. My grandfather and my mother are from here. My grandfather is Captain Pete, and I'm proud to be a daughter from Captain Pete. But I'm proud to be a Native American. We have a lot of Native Americans from different tribes here. I didn't live here all my life. I lived in Nevada. Over there, it was hurtful. We called different names, like Savage and stuff like that. It was hurtful to come here in '94. My son did graduate from here. My granddaughter graduated from here. But I have red blood like every one of you guys do right now. We draw blood red no matter what. But I do have brown skin. But I'm saying it doesn't matter if you guys keep it to Redmen or whatever you want. It's just hard for some of us natives to be called that. But it doesn't matter to me anymore because I'm used to being called different names all my life. So, but I'm proud to be part of this community and the love that this community has given my family when we moved here and helping my son out that did have special needs and stuff, which Mr. Garrett has taught dearly. But I'm just saying, just go ahead, just keep it for what it is. Yeah, it did hurt our people back then. We did have the history back then. But I'm just saying, just leave it as it is. And the Paiute people, Tribal Council is not speaking for all the other Native nations in this community. They're speaking for part of the Paiute, but not all of us.
Hi guys, my name's Samuel Matthews and I'm a student here at Cedar High. And first off, I just want to start off by saying I absolutely love this school. I'd never want to go anyplace else. This school is the best. And I'm one of the people that loves this mascot. And I've done a lot of research lately and I've been thinking about it, and I've actually wanted to find out and actually know for myself like what this all means, like what this is all about. And through my research and my findings, I've decided that my opinion is that we should keep this mascot, the Cedar High School Redmen. And I think that Cedar High, more so than some other schools, has such a strong sense of community, and everybody here is really tightly knit. And one of the things that I actually heard one of my friends talk about today is the Redmen mascots like your grandma and grandpa. They keep your whole family together. It makes peace and it brings people together as one, and it unifies everybody. And I also think that we should keep this because so many of us nowadays, the world is changing so much, and it's not all for the good. Some of it is, but some of it's also for the bad. And whether or not the past is great or bad to some people, I feel like having this heritage, having this mascot that instead of being a generic, boring, like an animal or something, I feel like having an actual tangible mascot is a really good thing because it helps us to be able to become united as a school. And not only that, but I think that this I've had some of my friends talk about it who are Native American, and they've said that they love it being this, and I 100% agree with them. And I think that this mascot is a good thing for us because I wouldn't really know anything, be it good or bad, about the Native American culture if this was not our mascot for Cedar High School. I think that if done properly and done respectfully, this can be a great thing, and it can help us magnify a wonderful people and a wonderful culture. And I think that Cedar High is a great school and that we should definitely keep this mascot. It means a lot to a lot of people, and there's a lot of emotion behind it, and it just stands for so many positive qualities that animals just lack, or anything else. And I think we should definitely keep it. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Gracia. I am a senior here at Cedar High. And I've been going to school in Cedar City in Iron County for like 10 years, since I was in second grade. And it's kind of weird because second grade through 8th grade, like all of our teachers encourage us to not call people names. And then as soon as we get to high school, we're encouraged to chant them at games. And I didn't realize that it was a problem. I was ignorant until sophomore year, and I started to recognize that, like, even though it doesn't really affect me personally, having the name as Redmen, it affects a lot of people that I just wasn't paying attention to. And I started being embarrassed. Like, people not from Iron County who haven't grown up around the mascot would ask me, like, what school do you go to? And I'd be like, I go to Cedar High. And they'd be like, oh. And it's embarrassing because I realized that it's not an honoring term. It's not a term that is used to build people up. It's a term that's more used to mock. A lot of people talk about how keeping this mascot keeps, like, the culture alive, but it's mocking. We're putting on a costume and we're pretending to be part of this culture without taking any, and to be part of this, like, people without taking any of the like things that come along with it, right? Like it's not, I don't share the history of the people of the Paiute tribe. Like my ancestors were pioneers. They came here from Europe. Like I don't share that history. I can't claim that history. And so putting feathers in my hair and painting my face with war paint and chanting at games, it's doesn't build up the culture. It's mocking it. It's pretending. And I can't be proud of that. A lot has been said about how other students have been bullied or been treated badly because they support the mascot name. And I just want to tell you, it's not one-sided. I have been like respectfully vocal with my peers about how I don't appreciate the mascot and how it's not good. Like I don't think it's good. So I've been pretty vocal about that. And I've had like a lot of people lash out at me, and I've had a lot of people make snide comments and not want to be friends or not want to sit together at lunch. Like it's kind of ridiculous that we're bullying on both sides, and it's all over like an outdated name. If we change the mascot to Falcons, we wouldn't do that. But the mascot, the Falcons, doesn't hurt anybody, but the Redmen does. So.
Hello, my name's Spencer Corey. I'm a sophomore here at Cedar High, and I love my school. And I agree that originally the term Redmen as our mascot was used to try to honor the Native Americans. However, I don't believe that it's working. The term that we're using to try to honor these Native American people is hurting them. And not only that, it's hurting students here at the school. I believe when this issue came up, I thought for myself, and I figured out that whenever I said, I'm proud to be a Redman, I was really saying, I'm proud to be part of the group that goes to Cedar High School. The mascot doesn't make the school, the students make the school, and the students aren't going to change no matter what. Thank you.
Before you speak, can I just interject real quick? We had scheduled till 8:30. Obviously, I think we could be here till 11:30 and still have some great conversations. I just want to let everyone know, I think what we'll do is those of you that have come down towards the front to speak, we'll plan on you going ahead and give your remarks, and then we'll end at that point. If I'm just estimating, it would be about 8:45. So we'll go till about that point. And for those of you that do need to slip out, I think you're willing to sleep. I'll walk in and put the mascot email address up there. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Oh, it's like way too short. There we go. Hello, I'm Kason Deshidi. I'm a senior at Cedar High School. Proud to be a Redman. My brother graduated here 2016, and that was my freshman year. And what he said was that he pointed out a really good point in the fight against like these names, and he said that as a people we shouldn't be going after like these like a school, like a small school like Cedar High in a small town like Cedar City, but like he said that as Native people, like what the other lady said, I don't know where she's at, but but like what she said about the domestic violence and violence against Indigenous women, we shouldn't be focusing on these names, and we should be like fighting like against like all of I don't know how to say it, all of our problems that we face right now, instead of going after like these racist names, but we should be really focusing on our problems through our Indian country, and we should really focus our attention on our problems like drug addiction, domestic violence, injustices against our Native people, and just, yeah. And last thing to say is that I'm proud to be a Redmen, and whether they change the name or not, I'm still gonna say I'm proud to be a Redmen.
Hello. I personally believe we kind of have a choice right now between either changing the name now or spending another 10 years talking about it, having reasonable people be offended, have, children that are innocent being accused of being racist, and then ultimately changing the name. What happened many years ago can't be changed. Ultimately, at some point, people are going to have a different mascot than their grandparents had. It's unfortunate that we kind of came to this place. Would have been ideal to do things differently many, many years ago. That's not an option. So the best thing we can do is choose a name that offends little to no one, have something that everyone can take pride in, and move forward as a more unified community as opposed to a name that unifies others and alienates some. Thanks.
I'm in middle school right now. I want to be a Redman. And I have moved a lot, and when I was away from Utah, I wanted to come back so I could be a Redman, but because in the games and stuff like that, I saw everyone in this school be proud of our mascot, and it's not till when I first got introduced to this problem that I realized it's offensive, and I'm sorry that it's offensive to some people, and I really don't want to offend anyone. Everything I say, I'm worried I offend someone, and if it's offending people, then let's change it, and if it's not, and whatever we do, I hope it doesn't offend anyone.
I go to Cedar High, and I'm a sophomore. I am proud to be a Redmen. These days, you can't say anything without someone being offended. I can't say that I like to eat Navajo tacos without a Native in here being offended. But I'm proud to be a Redmen, and I hope we can keep our mascot. Thank you.
I think I had 1 minute left. After listening to everybody speak, no, this is important. I just want to say this, please. After listening to everybody talk, everybody has validity to what they said. It's all true. It's all real. It's all sad. Some think it's ignorance. Some think it's naivety. But I'm going to tell you something. I grew up first grade through senior in high school, teased, whitey, pinky, fair skin. It's okay. It's okay, because when I look out in this crowd, I don't see color, creed, race. I see every one of us made in his image and likeness. And this may sound cheesy and corny, but I love all of you. And thank God we have the freedom to speak.
Okay, so I'm from here, born and raised here. I didn't graduate Cedar High. I went my senior year to Arizona, but my kids are graduated here, and but I went here and I played sports here along with my sons. They play football, and so I raised my kids to know what a mascot is. A mascot is, I guess I would feel like when they picked the names of mascots, it's because of their strength and like the powerfulness of that mascot. It's a mascot. It's it's not real. I know as a Native American, I'm not a Redman. I've never been. I'm not a Redskin. I don't teach my kids to be offended by being called a Redskin, because I've never in my 40 years been called a Redskin. Like you know, darn Redskin. I am not, and I won't be offended by it, because I know that's not what I am. That's how I raise my kids. I feel like the point of view, like the people who are offended, I understand. Like, I get it. I'm along with you. I understand it. But I don't, like, you can't make me feel offended because you are. Like, but you have every right to feel offended, and I'm proud that you're sticking up for yourself and that you're offended, and I'm proud to say that I'm not offended, and I'm proud to say that, you know, that's how I raise my kids up. That's how they don't, you know, we're always going to be bullied no matter what color we are. Even white people get bullied. Everybody gets bullied in some type of way, and we as parents have to raise our kids to overcome that, like kind of being called a name. Like, if you're being called a name, well, are you that? No, of course you're not. So, you know, I'm sorry, don't cry, you know, like, you know you're not that. We know we're not that. And with our, like, being a Paiute and being here, and the pride we have for being Redmen, my son will graduate here this year. I feel like you have every right to be offended. I have every right to not be offended. And so we should meet in the middle, because we're both right. And when I found out, when I left Cedar for a while, and I came back and seen it's a shield. It's a shield now. So that, I feel like that's the middle ground right there. You can't have it all just your way, and we can't all just have it just our way. There has to be a middle ground, and I feel like that shield being changed, the logo, is the middle ground, and we should stay Redmen.
She kind of touched on a couple of things that I believe in too about it just being a mascot. No one has a mascot that's derogatory or, oh, we're this or we're that and we're ashamed of it. No, you stand behind your mascot and you're proud. Look at that beautiful podium. It shows strength, it shows courage, and it shows pride. My son plays football. He goes to this school. He's part Native. He runs out on that field every single time, proud to be a Redman, proud to be a Native, and proud to be part of this community. And he fights for it. That gentleman right there spoke it true right there. We're all red inside. And it's something to be proud of. And if we look at that and we work that way, and we work together instead of against each other, someone out in the world, they're always offended these days. And that's fine, and that's their right. But it's not their right to tell us how we get to feel.
Hey, my name's Eddie. I go to Cedar High here, and not the smartest in this room, but keep a 3.5 most of the time. But my thing is, I don't look at what our mascot says. I look at what it represents, and that's when I look at it, I see a Native American, and I see him sitting there proud and just ready to take on any challenge that comes at him. And as a 15-year-old, there's nothing more that could represent me than that, being ready to take on any challenge that comes at me and any problem that someone is throwing at me. So that's where I stand on it.
So my name's AJ Price. I haven't lived in Cedar my whole life. I've only been here about 4 years. The time I've been here, I haven't been going to Cedar High. I went to Canyon View for 2 years, and I've been here for 2 years. Well, almost 2. I'm a senior now. I don't feel that the Redmen is offensive. We live in the most racially equal time that there's ever been. I mean, I'm white, and I'm not going to Harvard. I'm not going to Yale. And there's Native people, people of color, that do so much better in school and in life. They're going to go on to be millionaires and geniuses, and they have every opportunity to do so like I do. But I'm not taking that, even though I'm white. So I don't think it's offensive, because we're not making fun of them. We're standing behind the mascot because it's what we're proud of. Everyone is a part of the Redmen at Cedar High. So I don't believe it's offensive, and I think it should stay.
Hello. My name's Tanaya. I'm a graduate from Cedar High, 2007, a long time ago. I am a Paiute. I'm Navajo. I'm Native American. I graduated from here, and I coach here now. I coach the girls' softball team, and I've never been more proud to be a Redmen. The fact that they want to take that away is kind of strange to me. I feel, if you've ever been here, if you went to this school, you know that it really isn't just in the name, but we have a sense of tradition, we have a sense of pride, there's just something about Cedar High that we have here. And if you're embarrassed to call yourself a Redmen, if you think that, that's totally your thoughts, but I've never been more proud to be a Redmen. I would stand behind this. I will wear this shirt every day. I love my Redmen stuff. I love to tell people that I am a Paiute and that I went to a Redmen school, because I've never once felt that they have ever used it in a derogatory way. I've never felt that they have done anything to, what's the word I'm looking for? That they've ever done anything to make me feel like less of a Native American. I've never felt like anybody has ever told me that that is an embarrassing thing to be. So I think that, just like she said, that we should keep the Redmen. If the headdress is a little more offensive, then we should meet somewhere in the middle. But as a Paiute, as someone who has lived here her whole life, who has been around here, I am 100% for keeping the Redmen name and keeping that tradition and that school spirit and everything that we have, because it's hard to keep that. It's hard to have kids that want to be here at school and want to participate and want to wear their school colors and their name and be proud to do that. So I am all for it. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Eric Lee, and I'm not from here. I just moved here in June, just got married. Anyways, I'm married to an alumnus from this school, and she's very proud to be a Redmen. Well, come a long ways here. I'm a Redmen, but I never graduated Redmen. I'm actually a pirate. I bleed blue and gold. I'm from Moapa, where football's from. But anyways, I'm just saying that there's too many sensitive stuff going on in this world to worry about a mascot. There's too much things going on in this world to worry about how a person feels. One person will mess up this whole thing for you. And how I look at this, that changed. I noticed that changed when I first got here. I've seen the Redmen logo. I used to hang out with Brady. I hang out with Brady Tom. He's my brother. Craig Tom, Clay Tom, those boys, her uncles. Anyways, I've seen that. I seen the red dress guy. I thought it was pretty cool. To be honest, it didn't offend me. I'm not an offended guy. Now, if you're going around woo stuff like that, yeah, you're gonna get a fist fight. That's offensive. But the change right there, that is awesome. And they did go halfway through. They did meet you halfway through. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm also, I just joined the football league up here, the 6th grade football league. I coach 6th grade football here. And as a Native American, a Redmen Native American, okay, I take my kids into battle. And I tell them this, I'm a Redman. I'm a red man. And you guys are my little warriors. We're going to go into battle together and we're going to do this right. So it's a motivational thing for me to be a Native American coach in this system. And I think if you take away the name of Redmen, it's just going to be like not pride. I mean, these guys have a sense of pride in this, that's why they're sitting here. And haven't they already been over this before? Or what's the change did somebody come up to you guys and say, oh, I don't like that name, it offends me? I mean, you guys got to look at the big picture. You guys have made the move halfway, leave it. I mean, I don't see what the problem is. I mean, it's not, I mean, if it offends you, you need to go check yourself and do what you got to do to make yourself a better person as a human being. And that's just not any ways. That's what my grandma, my grandfathers told me growing up as an individual. You take care of yourself first, honor yourself, love yourself, and then you can open up and see what the real world's about. I say keep the logo.
Hello, I'm in 6th grade. I am very, very nervous right now, and I just want you all to know that because I am shaking. Well, I'm in 6th grade, and ever since when I was going into 6th grade, all of my class said, I can't wait to go to be a Redmen. I'm so excited. And so they just kept their pride and just wanted to be there. I'm sorry if any of you are offended, and I just want to keep our mascot because it makes so many lives easier. And my 5th grade teacher said if we did whatever people were offended, the world would fall into chaos because somebody says they're offended about this one thing, and then somebody else says, well, I'm offended that you're offended. Then nobody gets their way. So I just think we should keep our mascot. And yeah.
Before you speak, did we win?
We did win. I don't know how much, I think it was like 60 to, someone said it, maybe. But we did win. Yeah, go Redmen. So I don't know how well you can hear me, is that good? Okay, so obviously I'm a cheerleader at Cedar High, and I am very, very, very proud to be a Redmen. I never once would ever imagine disrespecting my mascot because, so I said this in class today, some kids probably were in my class, and I said, our mascot is like our grandma, and the students and teachers and administration in the school are like the grandchildren. And if someone ever did anything to our grandma, you know, we love our grandma so much. You know, they spoil the crap out of us. We do anything for them. And, you know, we take pride, and we would, like, you know, defend that pride and that our grandma, you know. So that's kind of just what I wanted to say, because I know that we're wrapping things up, so.
Thank you. We appreciate everyone for coming tonight. Okay, no more after this one, because we were sneaking in now. Thank you.
I am a proud graduate of Cedar High, and most what have been said I agree with, but I want to go back to what you said about the dance group and their dance. The theme of their dances was celebrating their culture. And so the Moitawa decided that they would do the Indian culture. And they had 2 members from the board, from the Native American board, come to the school. They helped them with their dance. They helped them design the costume, and they helped them with the beads that went in their hair. There was a few things that they could not do, like drums and their headdress, but I'm not sure what other. But they were celebrating the culture of the Native American Indians that lived here, and that's why they did the dance.
Thank you. So just to wrap up, I really want to thank everyone. This is a good example of why Cedar City is such a great community, and Cedar High School is such a great school community. The level of discourse, I really do appreciate. Procedurally, for those of you that were wondering about the subsequent meetings on December 18th and January 14th, it will be structured the same way. We are going to ask, unless you're a committee member, that you not speak again at the second hearing, that we allow for other opportunities to be heard. Again, if you're not able to come, then we would invite you to use the mascot at iml.org, and we will share that with all of the committee members. Thank you so much for coming. If you have something, I'm happy to stick around till 10 o'clock and listen if you really wanted to share something with us. Thanks.